This was my favorite orchid. It gave me tons of blooms every year, but because of a stupid rookie mistake I made, I lost it. However, it taught me a valuable lesson about plants when it rose back from the dead. This is her story. Let's start at the beginning. I got this orchid in 2019 as a Valentine's Day gift, and it was my most prolific blooming orchid, at one point having more than 20 flowers on 2 spikes. I was so proud of it because at the time I didn't even know much about houseplants. Fall of 2023 is when I actually really started my plant care journey, and it was in November of that year that I found scale on my aloe. It was right here on the balcony, and right next to it was my orchid, and I was mortified by the idea of this plant getting pests. I had no idea about anything about pests at that time. I did some digging and found the classic 1% neem oil solution recipe, and I sprayed everything. But a few days after I sprayed it, I noticed something suspicious on the stem of my orchid. Now, I was aware that you had to avoid getting moisture in the crown of the plant at all costs, but I had no idea that the same was true for the crevices on the stem, and I had absolutely no idea that stem rot was even a possibility. But that's what I was dealing with. I tried my best cutting away the affected area, sprinkling cinnamon on the cut to avoid further deterioration, but no luck. I was left with something that resembled a skeleton, just a bare stem and some crooked roots at the bottom of the plant. I was devastated. All my good intentions did was kill my precious plant. Still, I was encouraged by seeing YouTube videos of some more experienced plant people saying, if there's green, there's life. And there was green on my skeleton, a bit of the stem as well as the roots themselves. I had seen someone rehabbing orchids by keeping the tips of the roots in water, and I thought to myself, I got nothing to lose at this point, so that's what I did for 7 months. During this time, a couple of things happened. One, I was gradually losing more and more roots. They were either drying or rotting off. But also, two, there was a little bump on the side of the stem that was slowly but surely turning into something. But what? A bump on the stem like this can turn into one of 3 things: a root, a flower spike, or what's called a keiki. Keiki are baby orchid offshoots that sometimes grow on the flower spikes after the blooms are spent. But they can also grow on the stem, and this is what's happened to me a couple of times when the mother plant wasn't doing well. So what would happen is the keiki would grow out the side, and as it gets bigger, the mother plant would die off. It's so strange that I never heard anyone talking about this because it's happened to me twice. Is it just me? So anyway, about 5 months in, my hopes and dedication were rewarded. It was really a keiki. There were 2 tiny leaves starting to emerge, but we weren't out of the woods yet. So I kept up the same treatment, just adding a drop of fertilizer to my water to support the new growth. And I made sure to keep the water clean from any rotting roots so as to avoid, bringing in any bacteria. In June of that year, I decided the keiki was mature enough to pot up individually. It had 2 roots of its own, which means it was able to support itself independently from the roots of the mother plant. So I carefully snipped it off and decided the next part of its journey it's going to be in a no drainage setup in Leca. And that's where it's been for a year until today. And this is her today. You can see the reservoir because I've been using nutrient solution here. I've been using my regular hydroponic fertilizer for this orchid. So there's a lot of algae and I am not about that. I cannot flush this adequately, and because the plant is getting very big and this jar cannot contain neither the roots nor the plant's leaves that are coming out. It's got a new leaf coming in. I don't know if you can see it. But the plan for today is to take this out of this jar of leca and pot it up in a regular pot with drainage in regular orchid mix, because I'm too attached to this orchid and I want it to survive. I want it to be big and healthy, and I don't have enough experience growing orchids in leca. This is the only one that's been growing in leca for me, and I can already see there's a bit of rot going on. We'll see when I get this out of here what the situation is 100%. But I want this to survive and thrive and make even bigger leaves for me, and at some point to flower. This is the biggest leaf it has given me so far. I am so happy to see this. Okay, let's get into the doing portion of this video, which is repotting. Okay, I'm just on the floor on my balcony and we're going to take this out. I hope I don't have to break the jar, but if I have to, I will. Okay, this is a lot of algae on the bottom here, and this is the root system that I have. I think it looks quite good. I'm just going to go rinse it off and see. I don't like this root a lot. I'll rinse everything and see how it looks. And yeah, I can see there is some root rot in here as well. So yeah, some things will have to be cut away before I repot this. Okay, I rinsed them off. I can definitely see half of this root is a goner and quite a bit of this one as well. So I'm just going to use my scissors to get rid of the dead tissue. This root is dry. And I'm left with quite a bit of nice fresh roots. This one is fresh. This one is pretty fresh. And this one as well. The others, I think this is one of the first roots that I had, but the tip of it was rotted, so I cut that away. And with this one too. The other roots are doing pretty good, so this is what I'm working with. And I think this pot will do well for this size of orchid. I'm just going to put some mix in the pot first. This is just cocoa chips and cocoa coir, I'm thinking. Oh, and some orchid bark as well. So I'm just going to fill in around the orchid. around the roots. So here she is. I've done my best to cover the roots well so that they can take in enough moisture and nutrients. I'm not going to fertilize this just yet in this medium because it says here on the bag it's good for about 5 weeks. So about the 5-week mark is when I will be starting to fertilize this. And I think I might continue with my hydroponic fertilizer just because the substrate is not nutrient rich in any way. So I think it'll benefit from the hydroponic fertilizer. And right about fall probably I'm going to start giving it orchid fertilizer, because this is when I've noticed in my climate, this is when I've noticed orchids starting to produce flower spikes. This is connected with our temperature fluctuations between day and night time. Orchids need temperature fluctuations in a 24-hour period to trigger blooming. Although I will not be mad at this little baby if it doesn't flower for me next season, because I just wanted to focus on getting big and strong. It's already starting with this leaf. This was a really big orchid. Some of the leaves it had were ginormous for an orchid that I've seen. I don't know if this baby will be the same as its mom, because the mom was just so amazing. So there you have it, from an absolute queen through death to eventual resurrection. What I've learned is that with dedication, patience, and care, you can do what seems to be impossible. And to reiterate what I've learned from other plant creators, if there is green, there is life. If there is green, I can try and save it. Let me know about your own plant revival stories in the comments, and which plant do you care about enough to dedicate such a long time to try and save. Like this video if you found it useful or at least entertaining, and subscribe if you'd like to see me try more things with more plants. Bye!